packet along with a chart that delineates some of the pertinent information about each one of the proposals that we have received. So I am going to ask Dana and Rich to explain if you have any recommendations for any particular proposal and why you would make that recommendation.
Okay, so I included these spreadsheets that you'll find amongst the many papers that you have. You can find it on top of the 6 proposals that were included, so if you want to pull that out.
As usual, I couldn't find it, but I got
Maybe if you want to peek at Kelly's.
Sure.
Okay, so as Supervisor Dodd mentioned, we did receive 6 proposals in response to the website design RFP, all of which are included in your board packet. And I did include a spreadsheet to highlight the differences amongst the companies for comparison purposes. So you'll see that I included comparisons in cost, experience with other government bodies, years of business, etc. Supervisor Diamond, Richard, and I reviewed these proposals, and we did find that most did fall within a similar price point. WebLinks, Ego, Louder, and Nonstop Design all quoted us a flat fee, somewhere between $24,000 and $29,000. And Revise and Civic Plus quoted us a breakdown of the first year and subsequent years moving forward. For example, if we signed a 5-year contract. The cost still came out, if you add all that up, to $24,000 and $22,000 respectively. So the range was about $22,000 to $29,000. One thing I did notice is that all of these did provide some type of 24/7 emergency technical support, as well as a hotline. They all had similar apps they offered to install, such apps as like an online bill pay, fillable forms, bid posting apps, social media integration, mobile device app. So there were quite a few similarities in all of these proposals that we received. Some differences are that, if you see in my little sheet here, is that not all of them have experience working with government bodies, so that's something to take into consideration. Also, the number of employees, that's something to look at. Some have 550 employees, and some only have 5 employees. Also, the years in business varies. Some have been in business for 8 years, some 23 years. And some of the companies mentioned certain criteria that set them apart, such as Revise is very big on cybersecurity. They partnership with 2 different platforms to ensure that there's no intrusions. And a couple of them also state that they will do a total redesign for free after the 4th year on their contract. And I believe that was Revise and Louder. So again, I think this is quite more expensive than we were talking about. We didn't have a chance to touch base with Trustee Horvath on some of these. But I know we were talking about, wanting to review websites. Quite a few things on there are outdated, maybe are not mobile responsive, and there's different features I think that we are not using because it's not organized. But I don't know if this is the money that we're looking to spend at this time. So that obviously is something for more discussion. So I will let Richard take over from here.
I do have questions to follow up on the price. Looks like 4 of them are requesting the full price right away. I mean, maybe they will offer some type of payment plan, but as far as I know, they're all asking for roughly $25,000 to nearly $30,000 right up front. But the 2 at the top, Revise and Civic Engage, they ask for only $10,000 the first year, and then lesser amounts in the following years.
Correct. So you'll see, it looked more kind of like a payment plan. So right, you wouldn't have to, I guess, front all the money at once. You can divide it up amongst the years. Okay. Correct. So probably a little bit more feasible.
All right. And those 2, did they appear to have more work with government bodies?
Yes, they both work with government bodies. And if you look in their proposals, they gave references and they gave examples. I had a chance to look some of them up online. I have some background in this, so I don't know exactly what I'm looking at, but they look great to me, the websites that they did for the government bodies. So I did think the top two, you know, they did come in at the lowest cost. So, you know, again, I don't know that we need to spend, you know, this much, but the top two definitely obviously had, you know, experience working with other government bodies. They did come in on the lowest range. Their work looked, you know, good quality to me. Their timeline for the projects were a little bit different. One was about 3 months, you know, one was maybe 4 to 5 months. Civic Plus, I think, looks quite bigger. I think they had about 500 employees. Divided, I think, is on the smaller end. And the number of clients, Civic Plus has over 7,000. So Civic Plus, I think, is a little bit larger in size. And,
All right, you mentioned the top two, I think the columns here, the lowest price and working with governments. Is there anything to distinguish those two? Or did you find anything regarding those two that would favor one or the other?
So the hosting platform, and Richard might want to touch more on this, when he's more familiar with it, but their hosting platform was different than the other ones. The other four uses WordPress, which I think is maybe more of just a basic hosting platform. They're recommending this Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud Services, and Acquia. So I'm not sure exactly what the difference is. Again, Richard maybe can touch base on that, but WordPress I know is just kind of a basic hosting platform that we would use, and they're recommending ones that are bigger and maybe more specific, we need to do more with these hosting platforms. So the top two did stand out to me, and again, working government bodies offered where you can spread out the payments, and you know, but again, I'm not sure that the board is looking to spend this kind of money. I think the prices were way higher than I was expecting. I was hoping a couple of them came with maybe the 10,000 and under range.
All right, Rich, I was just wondering if you have anything to add to that based on your review of the proposals.
I'm sure just a few things. I agree with what Dana had mentioned as far as the two least expensive candidates being probably the best in my opinion because they specifically work with government bodies. They have a lot of experience doing that. The thing that separates the four highest from the two lowest also is the content management system that's used. The content management system. So the four highest priced ones use WordPress. Both Revise and Civic Plus use a proprietary content management system with everything built in automatically without having to add third-party apps. Everything is designed to function for what governments typically need. So everything is included in the CMS on the back end. A couple differences. Revise offered a payment plan where it could be $4,800 per year over 5 years. They offer a free redesign after 3 years of working with them. And then in the quote, it's a subtle difference, but they will design a home page, a standard inner page, and then a specific department page. It's different from the standard inner pages, whereas Civic Plus does the home page and then just a standard inner page that applies to everything across the site. So a little difference there, but the pricing is pretty similar at $9,500 or $10,500 for Revise.
Okay, all right, thank you. So I'd like to open it up to board members now if they have any questions. Now, again, Rich and Dana aren't purporting to be experts on these particular proposals, but have spent a little time looking at them. So I'm just opening up to you if you have any questions or comments that you'd like to make about any one of the proposals that we have here.
When I got this, I was a little disappointed just at the costs of some of these because having built websites and having hired people to build websites, I think some of these were a little bit more expensive than they even needed to be. And I think they were trying to, these are sort of like very large companies that are like, oh, you're a government agency, we're going to this is your fee, you know, and I think that we don't necessarily need something.
I think we're good.
can't hear.
Sorry.
Sorry, I didn't hear it. Okay. I think some of them are trying to push us into a website design that might be even more robust than we necessarily need, which is how maybe they're justifying the cost. When I looked through the proposals, the one, if I had to pick one of these, the Civic Engage, to me seemed like I liked some of the samples. I liked that they actually had samples in here. I did not have an opportunity to go to the actual websites and interact with them and see how they looked, but just kind of, at first glance, they looked professional to me, and I liked that they did have experience with other townships and other government agencies. But I guess one thing I would want to suggest, if we aren't in a huge rush, is there is if we want to try one more option for possibly getting some more proposals in that aren't necessarily from giant companies, but might be from smaller, like more independent web developers, there's a place called Upwork where you basically go and you put your proposal or your request on there, and then people fill out proposals directly on that platform, and you can see their portfolio and things like that. And that would just be another option. And I think the prices we would get would be a lot lower, even though they might not be like a large company with 2,000 people, but it would just be another option if we wanted to explore more. Otherwise, if we want to just go with what we have, then I would probably pick one of the top two after looking at their work a little bit more.
Okay, I think did you reach out, Dana, to any of the smaller companies that Kelly might have mentioned in the past?
So unfortunately, the person that I was really excited about who to give the proposal to actually just ended up moving to Portland and is in the middle of a big move and was not able to fill out a proposal for us. So I reached out to some other people and didn't hear back. So that's why I was also a little bit disappointed, because there were some people I know that have done good work that aren't available
But
right
they
now.
didn't submit it.
No.
Did you have something you were going to say?
I mean, obviously this was a lot of work going through and making the comparisons with chart matrix. So I appreciate that. Thank you. And there was a couple that I thought if I had to choose, I would pull out the ones that don't have government experience. I think it is a unique type of entity, not necessarily.
I can't hear you either, Kim, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I'm saying I don't really know either, but I would rule out the ones that don't have government experience. Because I think government is its own animal, it's probably different for a business. But I don't have any major opinion other than that. That would just be a tendency.
Okay, all right, okay. How about our other elected officials? Do you have some thoughts?
I'm just not sure with hosting platform, is that just how they develop the website? It's not how they promote it out to the public? Is that true, Kelly, or?
It's how do I explain it? It's basically what runs the website. And it's not anything that you or anybody from the public would even see. It's basically just sort of like the bones of how it's built. And it just, different platforms are run differently. So right now I think we're on WordPress, which is a very sort of basic, a lot of small businesses have websites on WordPress. It's kind of basic, and you get these things called plugins that allow you to do different things. So if you want a calendar, you can get a calendar plugin and sort of pop it in there and kind of build out the site that you want. But some of these other ones sort of have all of that built in already, so you're not necessarily piecing it together.
But it doesn't affect residents.
No,
Would be able to access?
No,
Okay.
no, it would not affect them in any way, I don't think. It shouldn't. as long as they're using a platform that has been around for a while and is not something that's going to go away tomorrow, but these are all, been around for a long time, so.
I think I would like Kelly's advice to go to smaller, maybe, because this is a little bit more than,
Yeah.
I mean, it's, it's a little bit, yeah.
I mean, not that the websites that I've built or the websites that I've hired people to build have been as complex as what we want, but they've still had some, pretty advanced features, and the price range has not been nearly this. So I think I would be curious to just maybe try one more time and maybe reach out and just see.
So can you guys table this tonight until you?
I'd like to ask what.
We
have a couple questions too.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I want to, before we talk about tabling it anymore, I want to give other people a chance to comment on it too if they want. Ed or Lee.
I would just say that website building is definitely not the wheelhouse of, in my wheelhouse of expertise. So I do think it's a little interesting that they're all kind of around the same price point. I agree it seems a little bit on the high side, but maybe like everything else, that's just something that's gone up pretty dramatically over the last year or two. So I would defer to Rich, who has the experience in color.
No, I don't really have an opinion on this. I would just, it doesn't hurt to look at more pricing, but I know Rich and Kelly are both very into website design, so I would trust what they have to say.
Well, Kurt, I have a question for you. We put out a request for proposals. We set a deadline. We got 6. And now I'm wondering, is this acceptable to say, well, now we're going to go someplace else and ask someone else if they want to submit a proposal? I'm just sort of curious because in a way it doesn't seem fair because we put this out there, it was on our website, we advertised it, we got 6.
There's no legal prohibition, even though it's not a full bidding process, you always have the right to reject any and all bids and start over. In this case, if we were going to go with another developer, as long as it's below that bidding threshold, which is now $30,000, then we don't have any obligations to bid this out or go through an RFP process. So there's no legal prohibition on starting over or starting from or going to a different company as long as we're below that $30,000 threshold.
And we don't necessarily have to reject these, do we? We need to put them on hold.
Yeah, this was not a full bidding process, so it's more of a wait and see if you can make a decision or not.
Kelly, we just concerned that we won't get any more. I mean, we put it off and we put it off a couple of times now.
The place that I'm suggesting that we submitted is a place that's specific for designers to go and find work. I've gone on there as a freelance designer and have bid on projects as well. And there's actually a lot of competition on there. And you can also go on there and as a designer have your portfolio on there as well. So you could even just go on there and look at people's portfolios and see. And you could even put a proposal on there and say, we want to see what we get back in a week. And if you want to have a short time frame and see if you don't hear back, then we can go from there. But I put in I sent a message to someone at the City Displays too, because they just recently redid their website. And I think they even have a lot more features than we want, but I just was sort of curious to know who they used and what the price range was, and I have not heard back yet. So I just would be curious to know if it was in this range or more or less.
So if we did put it in this site, was it Workforce?
It's called Upwork?
Upwork. Those would be mostly individuals, right? They're not companies, right?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay.
So that's a
have,
difference.
Yeah, we wouldn't have a large company responding to that, most likely. It'd be just
It would be more of like an independent developer.
And I'm just wondering if we would be likely to get the type of robust website that we need from someone who's working on their own, and how much support we would get out of that.
Well, and so that's the question, I guess. And I don't know if Rich can answer this, do we have the kind of website where we need like 24-hour tech support? Or, I don't know. when I used a developer, I used an independent developer, and if I ever had issues, I would send him a message, and he would, within a day, would fix whatever I needed, and usually would bill me like an hourly rate after that, if there were issues. So it just depends on what kind of process you want. I mean, I think these are sort of like a nice package that they can present to like a big, government institution, and so it's just a different.
Right, you helped create the wish list, and it's pretty long. Do you think it's likely that one of the freelancers work is going to be able to meet the wish list that we want? Going to be able to?
I mean, I think it's possible. I definitely think it's possible. I think that, if I didn't have a job and I had time, I could do it. I'm not going to have 500 employees to kind of like get it all done, but it's possible. But I don't know the price range, so and the time frame either. So it's.
Other questions?
I have just a couple concerns. If this is something we feel we really need, a new website design, I think it's smart that we rely on our employees who work with it on a daily basis, which I guess are Richard and Dana, on their preferences. But when I looked at this material, Karen, I didn't have Dana's graph, and it was completely unclear to me from this literature what we're exactly paying for. Are we paying for the installation of a one-time redesign of a computer system, or some type of a service agreement thereafter? And when I looked at the revised materials, it looked like 1 year at $10,500 followed by a reduced amount per year. For example, $3,400 per year. Is that a payment plan on the installation of the existing program, or is that some type of a service agreement? So I'd just like to see when we have the contract, what are we paying for and what are the services? And I agree with Dana, what she said, the revised is the one that jumped out at me as the one that was at least a little more clear on what we're buying. The others have a lump sum price and then no clarification as to the length. For example, louder doesn't say how long, just says $29,500. That's really all I saw as to how long. And then there's other monthly numbers in there, $2,400 a year and $3,600. What's that for? So it's not clear from the literature what we're paying for and the payment terms. But other than that, we're relying on our employees for the need for it. That's really, smart.
Any other comments or questions? Well, all right. We can do one of a few things. We can, if someone wants to make a motion to award a contract to Revise or Civic or some other one, we can move with that motion. Of course, we wouldn't be able to actually enter the contract yet because we don't have a drafted contract, but that's something we would work on once we chose. Alternatively, we can table this and see if anyone wants to make any proposals through Upwork. I don't know if any of these providers would be willing to give us a presentation, or if we even want a presentation from them. None of them are local. If anything, they would be.
There's one that's local, everyone else is out of state.
Okay.
Which is local.
I think non-stop design.
Oh, okay.
Local.
Oh, that would, yeah, it was in Grays Lake, I think I saw.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the others were Michigan and Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, they're quite far. So I mean, they could do it via, Zoom or
Sure.
but they could be in person.
All right. So, what are your preferences? What do you want to do?
I guess for me, I would prefer to sort of table this for right now and not make a decision on any of these, and at least maybe, Dana and Rich and me and whoever else kind of look into the top two a little bit more and maybe look into those platforms, look at some of their examples and see, but if it's possible to simultaneously just see if we can get a couple more proposals as well, and then next time we can talk about that more. I don't know if that sounds, I know we want to do it, but I also don't think we're in a huge rush, but I know we want to figure it out soon. It's not like we're gonna wait till next year
Yeah.
to decide, but,
We have been talking about it for a while,
Yeah.
and I would like to move forward, but if you want to make a motion to table the decision for now and request that before the next meeting, we solicit proposals through Upwork, and at the same time, ask Revise and Civic Engage if they would like to be present remotely for a presentation and any questions or comments. We could do that.
yes, I'll make that motion.
All right.
Second.
Is there a second? Okay. There's really no debate on that. So would you call the roll?
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Macher?
Yes.
Okay, all right, fine. So I think administration is clear on what we need. Okay, thank you, thank you. All right, we'll move on to the next item, which is discussion of the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District project and possible vote. Here it is, another matter which we have been talking about for a long time, but I think we're actually ready to move on this. You have received by email, and there's also a hard copy at your place, a copy of the intergovernmental agreement by and between Maine Township Road District, Maine Township, and the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District here in Chicago for construction and perpetual maintenance of a flood control project on Farmers and Prairie Creek. So we have this agreement now. Ed, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think your attorney has looked this over, and you have already signed off on this agreement on behalf of the Highway Department. And I've asked Kurt to look it over, and he has a few times actually looked at it, and he has no objections to it. So I bring it to you, the board, tonight to ask if you will authorize me to sign off on this agreement, and also ask if you have any other questions or comments about this agreement with the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. Any questions or comments from the board? Okay, all right, any other elected questions? Okay, all right, fine. I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign off on the agreement with the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District and for us to enter into this contract.
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Macher?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, all right. Now, the next matter is at the fund balance policy. Now, you may recall that we talked about several policies recommended by our auditors at the last meeting. We passed 2 of the 3. We had some remaining questions about this, and we tabled it for tonight because we thought that it's the, oh no, I'm sorry, I skipped one. Let's back up a minute, sorry. I just wanted to give you an update on the Unicode organization of ordinances. This is another matter we've been working on for a long time. We entered into a contract last year, paid half the fee to Unicode. We have now received from them a table of contents organizing the, showing how they would organize our existing ordinances. And I emailed it out to the trustees and other elected officials, and we've got it. Nader, I think you got it, and Mike. And to see if you have any comments on the proposed organization of those ordinances. And I did not receive any comments, so I presume their proposed organization is acceptable. The next thing we'll do is get the actual ordinances inserted in the table of contents that they've prepared, and then we'll need to review and sign off on that. But that's where we are with that project, so I just wanted to let you know that much. Okay, all right, now on to the fund balance policy. Again, as you may recall, we talked about this at our last meeting and decided that we were going to table the proposed fund balance policy because we get some questions for our auditors. And we thought our auditors were going to be here tonight, but actually they won't be here until next month. So I'm going to ask if you'd like to make a motion to table it to next month when our auditors will actually be here.
Motion to table the fund balance policy, possible vote discussion to next month.
Second.
Okay, all right. May I roll call on that?
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Meyer?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Here's another old business matter. We really don't have to make a decision on this, but last time we did pass, the minutes reflect, we passed a resolution regarding selling the, one of the vans, but we neglected to sign it. So I've been passing around and we can all sign off on this, so it is official. And then we'll be done with that.
Does that change the date of the auction? Probably not.
Well, we haven't done the auction yet anyway. We weren't going to probably do that until August.
There's high interest in that auction, that's why we're here.
Oh, okay. We'll be using the van a little bit more for another 2 or 3 weeks. And then I'll be done with it pretty much for good. All right, now we're moving on to new business. The first thing we have is discussion about the postage machine lease. Vicki, I'm going to ask you to step up to the podium in case there are any questions regarding this postage machine. So you'll see there's a memo from Victoria Rizzo, which is in your packet about the postage machine. And there is also on the second page a summary of the quotes that we received, the price, the term, the total amount for the postage machines. Vicki, did you want to tell us if you have a recommendation as to which one we choose and why?
Sure, so I'm going to do a little recap as well, just to kind of give you an overview. Maine Township utilizes a postage machine system for our shipping and mailing needs. It allows us to print postage, send certified mail, weigh items, ship passport applications, and process a high volume of mail easily. We also receive a discounted rate for postage and can easily process reports for accounting purposes. Maine Township currently has a lease with a vendor named Quadient that will expire in September, and that machine includes all the shipping features. Postage meters are only available from 4 providers that are authorized by USPS. I received quotes from the 3 providers that serve businesses of our size, and I recommend Quadient because their devices meet new USPS standards that recently went into effect for security. Their devices and their service are very reliable. And in addition to that, they actually ended up being the lowest quote. So for a 36-month lease with Quadient is $392.67 per month, invoiced quarterly. So over the course of that 36-month lease, it's $14,136.12. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
All right, so you are recommending Quadient?
Yes, correct.
All right, do any of the board members have any questions or comments about this?
Possibly a dumb question. It doesn't include the postage, but when they do give us the postage bills, they reduce it a little bit.
Yes, so like a regular stamp, I believe right now is 58 cents. We pay 53 cents. So we always, for doing that ourselves and having that meter here, we receive a small discount.
Okay, great. And it helps the obviously.
Yes, yes, and we do a pretty high volume of mail. I know as Eva and other people can kind of vouch for, when the postage machine doesn't work, we can't sell passports, we can't send certified mail, we can't do some of the senior mailings and things. So we really rely on a machine that works and expedited and everything, yeah.
Okay. All right, any questions from the elected officials? All right. Do I have a motion to award the contract for the postage machine to Quadient?
I'll make a motion to renew I guess you're renewing the lease?
It actually is a separate lease. It's a totally new agreement. Yep, yeah, we had the other one not renew, and this is for a brand new device.
Okay. I will make a motion to enter into a new contract with Quadient, starting, I assume, September 12th, 2022.
Second.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Meyer?
Yes.
All right. You'll talk to me later about signing off, okay? Vicki, you'll talk to me later about signing off.
Yes, yes.
All right, the next matter is a discussion on the copier printer maintenance agreement. So, Vicki, you have a memo for us on that too. And can you tell us if you have any recommendation for this contract and why?
Yes, okay, so we own 3 black and white copiers, 1 color copier, 11 printers, and 1 multi-purpose machine. As you see by the boardroom table right now, we make a lot of copies, so we need those devices to be up and running. We go through quite a lot of toner as well. So we use a maintenance agreement here that covers service, replacement parts, and unlimited toner. So we asked for quotes that had no overages. We just provided the volume of copies we made the past few years to help get those quotes. I asked for quotes from 4 vendors, and based on the information that we received, I would recommend Warehouse Direct. That actually is not who we're using now, but they came in with a much lower price and some other features and different added-on services that I think would be really helpful, so I am recommending them. The rate per month is $539. It's a 1-year agreement, and that actually saves us over $1,300 a year actually by switching vendors too. So, and it was much cheaper than the proposal from some of the other companies, so I recommend them.
Do you feel like there will be a reduction in service at all, or?
I actually feel that, based on the conversation that I had with them and the quote that I received, there might be a few more features. They provide us with a loaner if something is down for an extended amount of time. And they put software on the machines that automatically will order a device, which we kind of have now, but it seems like it's a little bit more enhanced. Their responsiveness to the quotes was like same day, within a few minutes I received a response. We also do use them for IT right now, and I feel that we're all really happy with the response. Their technicians are very, experienced. It's quick. Also, they will not be charging us for shipping for toner, which saves money as well.
Do they have, I don't know if any of them have like a guaranteed time in which like if you put in a call, like a service call, they'll come within a certain time?
Yes, they have a 2-hour response time for machines being completely down and 4 hours for a non-emergency situation. The other thing I thought that was really unique about this quote was, for government, they offer a 30-day out clause. So if for some reason we have a budget issue or there's a finance issue, you can get out of this contract at any time during the year. So I thought that was also, something that seemed like a benefit.
Any other questions or comments from board members or elected officials? All right, do I have a motion to award the contract for the annual maintenance agreement for service, replacement parts, and toner to Warehouse Direct?
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve the annual maintenance agreement for service replacement and parts and toner for copiers and printers to Warehouse Direct per the recommendations of our deputy administrator.
Second.
Anything else on that? All right, roll call please.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. At this point, I'm going to ask Nick Mill to step up to the microphone. Our next matter is the discussion and possible vote on new flooring for the food pantry. Now, as you recall, we received a very generous donation a few months ago for our food pantry. And I think a couple of our goals for the food pantry are, one, to make it a little more welcoming, to spruce it up, and to also make it a food pantry that contains more, or that offers more fresh, healthy food other than just canned goods, which is primarily what we've been able to offer in the past, bag-in-box goods. So the next couple of motions or matters you will see relate to fulfilling those goals. So the first one is the food pantry flooring project. Now before Nick talks about flooring, let me mention that Mike and Steve have already put in a new ceiling. They cut the tiles and without going outside, without hiring anyone, put in a new drop ceiling. And they have painted the walls, 3 coats now, I think, 3 coats. So I'm really glad they were able to do that, but the flooring is something that we're going to have to go outside and get someone else to do. So, and Nick, do you want to talk about the flooring quotes that we have here?
I do not have it in front of me, but I know we have 3 quotes.
I
gave them the one for the
refrigerators, yeah.
I don't have one for the I read it.
Oh, I have it here. Thank you, sorry. so we have 3 proposals. Between the 3, I think, between me and Karen, we both agreed that Charm seems to be the most professional and the most, where pricing-wise, fair, and they came in and they were able to discuss with me what they were able to do. And out of the 3, I think that's our best bet personally. But it's open to you guys. I know there's 3 proposals, but one of them, as you can tell, is a little high. So I think right in the middle is where we want to be. Okay, I have material downstairs where I can show you guys what would be laying on the floor. So, but it's downstairs. Sorry.
So you got some samples?
Yeah, I got samples downstairs. Sorry.
Yeah, perhaps when we're talking about something to go on again, people want to look at it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we do have 3 quotes. I think we looked at, Nick and I looked at the both of them, we took to the top one. I did go out to Charm, their facility. They have a very nice store, showroom, very professional. Perhaps other people have used them. They've been there for a long time. Then I went out to see Chicago Flooring. But when I got to the store, there's another name on the business at Bussy Highway. So I went in and I said, is Chicago Flooring here? There's one employee there who looks so confused. And she said, oh yeah, that is an online flooring company. So it is not someone who actually owns that showroom, but rather orders through them and stuff like that. So I just personally felt more comfortable dealing with a known store that has been in our township for years that does pay property taxes to us, as opposed to some internet company that I'm not sure exactly where they really are, and I just felt more comfortable with Charm. And I think perhaps their quote offered a little bit more in terms of what they were going to do for us.
Yeah, people when they came, they were very professional, and they were telling me exactly how they would be able to fix some of the uneven floor and just a little bit more for the safety for our patrons.
They've been around a long, long time. They have a very good reputation.
Yeah, and even when I asked about the door, will the floor be able to fit the door? They were able to say they can cut the door if need be, but I'm pretty sure it should all fit. But whenever I called, they're very professional, very helpful. So.
Any other questions or comments?
I just had a quick comment, Karen. Whatever contract we enter into has to say what they're going to do with the existing floor. Very important. Some of the contracts do not say that. So sometimes it's best, in my opinion, when you're doing flooring, remove the old flooring because of the gap between the old flooring and the new flooring.
We're laying over
it. So, remove all, because sometimes it's labor, it takes labor to pick up the old floor, but it's not.
Yeah, I think what they propose is put a skim coat over the floor existing. One thing, I always worry about pulling a whole tile, so if there's asbestos there. I think encapsulating it with a skim coat might.
Are there more than one, are there multiple layers of flooring down there, like that it's been gone over?
Mike, do you know?
There's one layer of flooring. I think the last time they did go down to the base. So I think there's only one layer from down.
Okay, so there probably isn't any like.
Yeah.
Unlikely it's asbestos either. It's not, if it's more than 9 inches, it's not likely to be asbestos. But the reason why I say underlayment is important is it makes leveling a little bit more complicated, and sometimes there's moisture or mold that can develop in there. You've got, so it's a basement, so it's a basement floor.
Yeah.
So it's another moisture concern. So we just have to clarify, we pull out the existing tile and how much extra are they going to try to charge us for that. Depending on what the tile is.
They're not pulling the tiles. They're not going to pull the tiles, right?
Well, it doesn't say.
It says we're laying over the floor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just has to be considered whether you ever remove the old tile. Okay. Because it's not hard to do.
I would love to see that.
All right.
You heat the tile and
You will.
spread walls.
You can go down and get it when we're done here. I'll pass it around.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, you can mark which color you like, or.
Yeah. Dark.
Okay.
Medium to dark gray.
All right. Do I have a motion to award the contract for the flooring project to Charm Floor Coverings?
Sure, I'll make a motion to award the food pantry flooring project to Charm in the amount of $6,240. Second.
All right, any other comments or questions? Okay, may I have a roll call?
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Meyer?
Yes.
All right, fine. Next matter is discussion and possible vote on the refrigerator for the food pantry. Now, this did not make it into your packet, but you do have information at your place regarding the food pantry refrigerator. And I have found that there's just no place you can look to actually see these in person. So you just have to sort of rely on what you're seeing online. And I've tried to create a chart here of the different ones I saw online, how big they were, how much they cost, what the doors were like. You see a lot of backup material here. What we're looking for in any event is a refrigerator or cooler that has glass doors, like the type you would find in a grocery store or convenience store, where people can come in and see what's inside and feel welcome to open it up and take out whatever it is that they want. So as you can see, there's a lot of different options. The prices that we see here range from about $2,600 to $3,800, the ones that we've seen. I'm not sure you really want to look through all these pages here. What I suggest is that if someone would make a motion to give me as the supervisor the authority to spend up to $4,000 on a refrigerator, then we could choose which one to do it at a later point.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, I don't even know if they would have them there. Has anybody called that restaurant depot?
Gordon?
It's on
Walking?
Manheim?
Yeah, I call them. They don't have it there.
I didn't know if they
Yeah,
had.
no, someone, you made some in. One of you guys. Yeah, I call them. They don't have it there.
Okay.
They don't have anything at Home Depot that you can see. There's nothing at Lowe's. There's nothing. Where else I call them? I can't remember. Not Ace, Gap. Tried all those places, trying to see them in person.
Sure.
But
I just didn't know if like a restaurant supply.
Yeah.
Sam's online, this.
Yeah.
Yes, Sam's online, yes.
Sam's does, yeah.
online,
Sam's, yeah.
okay,
Sam's Club? Yeah,
but they're just online.
I think so, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a refrigerator that large, it just isn't normally on display for.
Right.
So,
You need to go to some restaurants and
yeah,
walk around.
essentially, but we've tried, I called Maine Township, they gave me the exact VIN number, the one that kind of what we were looking for. Called app, they don't have it on display anymore, and I don't think they even sell it anymore. So it's been kind of a big run around. It's been trying hard to find a refrigerator, but what Karen's suggesting is, I think, is a good idea. I think finding one with enough space for our clients, and just finding something that's going to be nice and durable, that's going to last the time. Instead of trying to go back and have to buy another one, I just think you buy a nice one.
Okay.
Do you have any questions or comments, any of the elected officials or board members? Okay, all right. Could I have a motion for authority to spend up to $4,000 for a cooler refrigerator for the food pantry?
Motion for authority to Supervisor Diamond to spend up to $4,000 for a refrigerator for the Maine Township food pantry.
Second.
Any other questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes?
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Meyer?
No.
Okay, all right. The next matter that we have is discussion of building plumbing issues.
Okay, thank you guys, appreciate it.
And I'm going to ask Mike to come up to the microphone and explain to us what some of the building plumbing issues have been. And you also have prepared a memo, Mike, regarding the expenses that we've incurred due to plumbing problems.
Correct.
Could you sort of give us an overview of what these problems have been?
Good evening, everyone. So for quite some time now, we've been having plumbing issues. That's affecting our 3 bathrooms just outside the boardroom, as well as the 2 bathrooms in the community room, which is leading to our drains backing up down in the basement, which shuts us down upstairs, shuts us down as well downstairs. So we've had several companies come out and take a look at it. We don't have any collapsed sewer line, nothing like that that's going on. We ran the cameras, I've had different companies come out. What they're finding is a lot of wipes, a lot of paper towels, and feminine products is what they're finding in there. We have tried some remedies inside to try to go ahead and help with this. We've gotten garbage cans, Vicky has made signs, like throw this up inside there, and it's pretty much empty like every time. Myself, Steve, Jessica will try to go in and empty those baskets out. So at this point, we also have issues with our check valves, which prevents any, when Park Ridge backs up, to prevent any flooding from coming back into our building. But it's not opening all the way, so if any type of a wipe or any type of a towel gets latches onto it, the rest of it just goes ahead and just keeps backing up and backing up. So they're recommending to get rid of all the wipes and towels and to do hair dryers and to replace our check valves for right now. That's what I would start with.
Okay, so your recommendation is to replace the check valves and to put hand dryers in, correct? And check valves, replacing the check valves, how much approximately did we think that was going to cost?
I don't want to really put myself like, I don't know. I would rather come back up here with maybe 3 quotes in July. I don't want to go ahead and put to give an estimation on it, but it's going to be probably a little pricey though.
All right, so you are proposing coming back with proposals as to how much replacing the check valves would
Correct, for the check valves.
cost. Mike, can I ask you one other thing too? Bathrooms on the west side of the building do not have the same problem because they actually flow into a different sewer, right?
Correct.
And what is the difference? There is a difference between them.
They have ejector pumps over there, which just basically sucks it right out and throws it out to the streets. We have ejector pumps. Or not onto the street, but not onto the street, but into the sewers that way, correct. We have ejector pumps inside this pit over here. Our last company recommended to put another set inside of like our slop room downstairs. Because our check valves need to be replaced, I don't think we should jump to that just because we need to fix our check valves no matter what. Why don't we try that first, and then if that's not working, then maybe look into something bigger here. But because our check valves are not opening and operating the way they should be, it's something that needs to be fixed. So I think that before, now that is going to be, I think I saw like maybe over 10 grand. Before we even get into that, I think we should try to do the check valves first, and then get into the possible bigger remedy if that is the case.
And you want to, I don't know if you said, explain what a check valve is?
Right, so the check valve is basically like a flap. It's when they're flushing toilets and whatnot, it sends everything out into Park Ridge. And if we have a lot of rain or anything like that, everything goes to back up, it shuts it so we don't back up into our basement. So it's working, I guess, going this way, but not so much going that way.
Okay, all right. So fixing the check valve is one thing we might do that hopefully would deal with the plumbing problem.
Right.
Another possible, well, we just talked about the ejector valves, but you explained what it is,
Right.
but it might not be the best idea. Another option is replacing the paper towels with hand dryers. Now, that would not, well, I think we know that would totally fix the problem because people may bring big wipes from home.
Right.
And bring them in with them.
Yeah.
And so we can't
control that.
Can't totally control what people bring into customers. But I am going to ask Alicia to step up because she's done the pricing.
I had a couple comments.
I'm sorry, what?
I had a couple comments when you.
Are these questions for Mike? Or?
I had one question after.
I just had some comments and questions.
Okay, well, all right, before we start with Alicia, why don't we take whatever questions or comments you might have?
My comment is, it sounds like the problem is people deliberately misusing the toilet. If a toilet is properly used, you should not need ejector pumps and hand dryers and check valves. Why are people flushing objects? We haven't even considered the possibility of power toilets. You can benefit a stronger flush to get the things, whatever objects are being placed in there improperly will flow through, but you should not have any problems with the check valves to the sewer system, right, Mike? Unless, I'm not a plumber, but.
Likewise, but the 3 toilets downstairs are the power ones. And they're struggling, yeah.
They struggle to push through? Okay.
Yeah.
And have we ever had an expert opinion with the camera?
Yes.
And it shows that the check valves are actually defective. They can actually show you that.
Correct, and then they were able to see basically too, like there's nothing, there's no like collapse, like, I mean, I'm thinking like there's a collapsed store line, a tile, something, but there's nothing. Okay, we had multiple companies come out to confirm that. Yeah.
And I presume we have a garbage can in there that shows where you put the paper towels and stuff. People don't just
We have
throw
multiple-
paper towels.
We actually added garbage cans with bags with a sign directly in front of every
Yeah,
toilet. If
very-
you use a restroom today.
Well, away from the toilet, so
you'll
they
see it
can't-
really next to the toilet, so that you,
To hide it from-
it's actually less effort to do this than something else people still aren't.
Yeah,
So-
they're pretty much empty.
Okay. So that's my only suggestion, is before we do drastic things like, make people follow the rules with respect to
Yeah.
use the toilet plan.
All right, now, before Mike sits down, do we have some other?
Eddie was excited.
Is it, oh, I'm sorry, you go first.
I just had a quick question. So the check valves, is there clean outs? Or is it a clean in check or is it just a check valve?
We have the clean outs down in the men's bathroom. So they'll go through there and it'll lead into the pit outside.
Okay. So I'm just making a suggestion. It might not be a bad idea if we replace the check valves, to maybe put a clean and check right there, because then they can clean out the check valves, right at that point to prevent it from happening.
Right.
Just a suggestion.
Underneath the toilet, like a floor right there, right? And instead of,
It's actually like a U shape.
Yeah.
So you're able to pull the whole thing out, clean it, and then drop it back in. Just a suggestion. I mean, if you're spending money.
Right. I know, like what you just said, I mean, that's been talked about as well, like doing a clean out, but like I said, I know those check valves need to be replaced, but that's another option, I'm sure, once we, a little bit down the line.
this is an ongoing problem.
This has been going on for a long time, even before I came maintenance foreman, this was going on, but it's been pretty bad in the last 2-3 years. It's been just progressively getting worse. So, yeah.
So-
Attentive people.
Yeah.
So Susan is often here in the office and also experiences how often we can't use the bathrooms.
Yeah.
We all have to go over and use.
Right.
No, sorry.
The bathrooms
Public
are on the
too,
first side.
it's not just
Yes, public too.
township, so. But is there also another name for a backflow?
Another
That's
check.
the neighbor, that's what.
Is it the same, the backflow prevention
I thought
device?
it's flood control terminology. We're getting flood control
It's
system.
basically flood control. Yeah.
It's not really sewage. But we have an injector pump, you said.
Down, there we do, yes, and then down outside, just outside the main chambers.
That's been there a long time.
Sorry.
That's been there a long time.
Yes. Yeah, we've got 2 pumps down there. I mean, one of the invoices that I had, like reading over it, it was, one of our pumps ended up not working because of all the wipes and everything that was caught on underneath there. So even they're made to go ahead and shred that stuff up and it still struggled. So, yeah.
That's it, cameras in the bathroom.
Yeah. We'll ship them to the clerk's office, let us know.
Hire that power hose company.
Say, Pete recommended it. Don't put that in there.
It's quite the interesting topic.
Yeah.
All right, so we've talked about one solution, the check valve, and the injector pumps. And one idea we had was switching to hand dryers. And I've asked Alicia to try and figure out for us how much would that cost. So Alicia, would you step up? You prepared a memo, and you
Hi,
also
everyone.
have a chart.
So, as Mike was saying, we've had plumbing issues for a very long time. Supervisor Diamond asked me to get some quotes together. Hand dryer pricing is the first one. They range a lot in price. So I put together a chart where it ranges from $295, which is the price for one unit, and the highest one on here is $1,108. So pretty big range in price. It really just depends if you guys wanted to go this route, what you're trying to spend. There are reviews on some of them. I have attached that if you guys want to look through that. But the one you probably see the most when you go out in public is the accelerator. That one is $470, which is a little lower than the middle pricing for all of them. So I mean, that's probably the one that everyone sees when they go out in public. And then I got 3 quotes for electricians.
Okay, well, let's just hold on just a second, let me ask you a question.
Yep.
So that's per dryer. But how
Yes.
many dryers do we need?
9. I'm gonna break my total one.
So for instance, if we were to purchase Excel dryers, we need 9 of them, about $4,230, I calculate.
Yeah, so $470 a unit, we need 9. The ones that were a little lower in pricing, which had reviews, most people had great things to say, but it's just not a very well-known brand. I'm no expert in this at all, but the reviews are pretty good, so. Bella.
So these are just the prices for the equipment, not the installation.
Correct.
So now you have a separate memo for electrician proposals, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And the highest one on there is Northern Sons based in Des Plaines, and they are priced at $3,240. And the other 2 are out of the township. The lowest one is $2,900. The other one is Portic, and they're in Northbrook, I believe. Yes, $2,943.
All right, so altogether, if we wanted to do this, let's say we just bought the one that you mentioned was very commonly seen at $4,230. And if we got an electrician for, let's say, $3,000, we'd be talking a total of about $7,230 for doing this work.
Correct.
I don't know at this point that we are prepared to say what exactly we should do to remedy this problem. We do know that we're hemorrhaging money paying for plumbers to come. And the public and the staff are often inconvenienced because many of the bathrooms are closed. So it's a serious problem that we have to do something about. I don't know exactly what the solution is, and I open it up to the floor to listen to what your comments and thoughts are. And Mike has one
Just
other
one more thing too. Unfortunately, the last 2 companies that we used, the one that we were using for a while got bought out by someone else, and I asked the company if they had any of the records and things that have happened here, and the answer was no. So we don't even have that anymore. And then the last company that I just brought in, they don't want the job anymore. So it's going back, so I'm gonna have to get 3 new companies out here and quotes and everything else, so just to make you aware of that as well.
When you said they didn't want the job, you mean replacing the check valves?
The check valves,
They have to
correct.
do the job?
Did they say why?
Just been doing it for too long, getting the material, the work, just wasn't interested in it basically. Was pretty much honest with us, so, yeah.
A plumber's not your job.
Yeah, so,
They don't want to get rich.
yeah.
Little stats.
So just like I said, I figured I would just bring that up and just start from scratch again and bring 3 companies out here and get their opinions as well.
It's just really unusual to have that type of ongoing problem without there being some type of a cracked line or whatever.
Right.
I've never heard of that.
Right, well, if you remember back like, I don't know, with the last board, I came up here for an emergency approval where
Yeah, I
the
remember.
first company came out and was like, yeah, you got collapsed floor tiles and everything. I brought 4 companies on, like, there's nothing collapsed. Everything looks good down there. So it's, you would think that, but the other 4 companies or so that came out, I mean, we had the one out here maybe 2 weeks ago and it's like, there's nothing.
And they did a scope like all the way out to the street?
Right, yeah.
And is there a clean out here in the street somewhere? Or
Nothing.
area outside?
On that side, yes, on this side, no.
So,
Deliberate misuse of the plumbing lines. I mean, if you've never heard of that, I mean, that would happen, right, Pete? If you misuse something deliberately and intentionally, then throw things down there that don't belong down there, of course you're gonna have continuing problems, like pouring something down a kitchen sink, a caustic chemical, that corrodes the pipes that you're using. So it's like, just misusing, that's violent, so. And obviously, we want to fix them so that everybody's convenience. We want to stop the source of the problem, so we don't get new check valves and then we still have people throwing
Well, that's.
strange objects in there.
That's been like the tough part with it, is like you don't want to sit there and spend all this money and then like a week later, you're just seeing everything happen again, you know? It's a very difficult part of it. Yeah.
Whether it's putting a camera in there or whatever it is.
Right.
I mean, I think that hand dryers, I mean, we don't know for sure if that will stop the problem altogether, but it would be a little more eco-friendly, I guess, for us, and save some trees, and, it might help, eventually you'll also recoup the amount, not that we spent $10,000 on paper towels, but, that wouldn't be an expense anymore, and hopefully that would help, so.
Keep the tires, right?
So Jimmy, do you want to go ahead and put in electric dryers, or wait until Mike has the,
No heat dryers, yeah.
Oh,
That's what the electricians that I spoke with recommended, to have the no heat.
So it's just air, just going to be
The ones where the mechanism breaks after 50 times something hit it breaks and you have to get service going on. Half the people that use the hand dryer anyway. Right?
I think, I don't know how much more convenient you make it. You put a trash can right in front of the toilet with the sign.
Right.
I mean, I see your point, but it's still, it's $7,250. And it's not just paper towels that are being thrown down the toilets. There's other, probably more egregious things being sent down there. I don't want to get into. But, so I'm not, I don't know. I mean, spending that kind of money on something that, not that there's any guarantees that would be solving the problem. So maybe we should just start with the check balance and then kind of revisit it after that.
Right.
Because how often do those need to typically be replaced? Is that something that?
Check bills?
Yeah, is that, like, I don't know anything about them, so.
I'm not even gonna lie, I'm trying to take it guys.
Okay.
To be honest with you, I'm not even gonna do that, but I mean, I would assume probably not very often.
Okay.
And in my time here, I mean, this is my second time in maintenance, and I don't think they've ever been replaced or anything like that.
So hopefully if we replace them, hopefully we would never replace them for a long time.
Right.
PVC, probably, right?
That's right.
PVC is wrought iron or whatever else there's.
That's pretty much what it is now.
Yeah, the something to keep us 100 years or something.
so what's our suggestion? To get quotes on the check bills?
Yeah, we can do that to start.
Right, Mike, we're going to ask you to, if you can, get some quotes for check valve replacement. And we should just sort of sit on those quotes for now and see if we can do any other suggestions over here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, nice lighting.
All right, fine. So I think just to resolve that, we need a motion to table that.
I'll make a motion to table the discussion of the plumbing issues while Mike gets some more quotes.
Second.
All right, can I roll call?
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Meyer?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thanks. So now we have another things that we want to go over in terms of just recapping what's happened in the past and things that are coming up in the future. Memorial Day Parade. Jim, you want to talk about that a little bit? You were there.
I was. That was a great parade. It's amazing how many beautiful houses there are in Park Ridge and how many beautiful little kids too. Little kids, I was always amazed. So it was a very nice parade. I'm glad I attended the one with Kim and Kelly.
No, she's very different about that day. You want to talk about the event you were at, Kelly? On Memorial Day. Did you go to?
Oh, I was like, where was I?
Somewhere.
No, I went on Memorial Day. I went to Displays, the Park District, and the VFW hosted a Memorial Day ceremony at Lake Opeka, where they had just dedicated a new monument, and it was actually a very interesting memorial. There was a man there who was a veteran who was, I think, 93, and he came up and spoke, and he told some really interesting stories, and it was very, it was a nice event, so I was glad I went.
Okay.
Also, I forgot that Karen and Asif were also at the parade. giving away all the candy.
Yeah.
We ran out of candy.
Yeah, we went through all the candy.
The good event.
We ordered more, so, okay, thank you. I did want to mention that something we've started since, I think, the last meeting is preparing weekend go bags, the food pantry, to give to the Family Resource Center next center. I think we've done it 3 weeks. This week will be the 4th week, I think, of sending 60 bags, small bags of food over to the Family Resource Center to be sent home with some of the families, the kids and some of the families who, as far as we can tell, may be a little food insecure. So they have a little bag of food over the weekend, which comes from our food pantry. So we're going to do that throughout the summer school period of time. Dumpster days. We just finished up with dumpster days, which was more successful than we thought. People, I never dreamed people in town would have so much stuff they wanted to throw away.
Wow.
And how quickly they would fill up those dumpsters, both over in Sumac and here. And unfortunately, when we came in on Monday, there was debris all over, but it was cleared up pretty quickly. Thank you very much, Jeremy, Mr. Department, Mater, for doing that. So it was wildly successful, but it's not necessarily good for dumpster day. So I'm not really sure what we're going to do come next year. We had the Secretary of State event here. They set up here in the room. They helped 56 people, I think, come through and either get their licenses or get other services. Secretary of State did that, and the Treasurer's Office, Illinois Treasurer's Office, did their iCash table so that people could visit them too. So I think that was a successful event right here in our boardroom here. And let's see what else we had. The Wellness Fair, that was held by Mainstay, and that was very recently too. And I think that was a success also. Put you back there. Just say yes. Okay, I got a thumbs up for that. All right, so let's talk about some upcoming events. All right, the 4th of July parade. We're going to be in the Niles. So you all should have at your place information about the 4th of July parade and celebration as to where to go, where to meet. We'll be there. We have spots, I think, 20 and 21 or 21 and 22. That's out of 70-some entries to the Niles parade. So we're fairly close to the beginning of the parade. And then, Ed, if you can talk about, you are going to sort of go over to the Displays parade. We're going to follow you over there. And I think we're going to march with the Highway Department. I mean, we have like 2 separate entries for Niles, but we just have 1 entry for Displays. But we're going to march with you at Displays, which is...
Francisco's bringing the red truck, right?
Yes, yes. So we're sort of on your coattails in terms of the display place. We don't actually have a separate entry. Okay, cybersecurity event coming up on July 7th. You should have information about that at your place. Taste of Park Ridge. I think, let's see, Kelly, you offered to call bingo, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, I said I would do that.
All right, so if anybody else wants to do that, Marie, I think you would like volunteers or...
I think it was Saturday, right?
Didn't that
Saturday.
Friday?
Oh, it's Friday.
Friday.
Okay.
Saturday is the beer tent.
Beer, okay.
And Ed, did you get all the volunteers you need for the beer tent from the board members?
I'll try to.
I mean, everybody who's, who could make it has reached out, and I mean, there's still a need for a couple more volunteers. My crew is going to be there, so if anybody's interested in coming to the big tent, I know Pete's going to be down all in one. So anybody who's interested, reach out. You can always use it. So.
Okay. National Night Out is August 2nd, so I think historically a lot of board members have gone to National Night Out. We didn't have it last year, but Pete's been working very hard on this. You've had 2-3 meetings now.
Yep, our next one will be July 18th over at Deep Park at 7 p.m. We'll be doing the poster judging contest from the different camps. So we usually get about 40-50 entries. So we'll judge all the posters, and then it's going to be, the actual event is Tuesday, August 2nd at Deep Park. Yep, we've got the little handout there. And we're in good shape. We're getting everything all lined up. I did hear back from Aqua. They are going to be participating, and they're sending us a check as well. So
they are.
Help offset some of the costs.
Good,
So that was very nice.
good. Excellent. All right, and then our next event after that will be our garage sale, September 17th. We've had 1 or 2 meetings about that, Rich, I think 1 meeting, right?
Correct.
Right, yeah. And so that's back on the calendar again after not being held for 2 years, I think, so we're looking forward to that. We did have, in August, we did have Indian and Pakistani Festival set for mid-August, but that has been either, I'm not sure if it's postponed or canceled. I do not have a new date from Oscopus to when or if that's going to take place. So that's all I know about that.
It was going to be the 13th, right, Karen?
It
August 13th?
was, but it is not going to be that date anymore.
Okay.
But we have some other events coming up again, trustees at your place. We have a Power Attorney for Healthcare event, and that's going to be September 19th. Another shredding event because it was so very popular when we held it recently. The new one is going to be on October 22nd. And then the Nurse Suburban Legal Aid Clinic is going to, their rescheduled program is going to be October 27th. So you should all have at your places flyers for each one of these events. So if you want to hang on to them, and, please try and attend as many as you possibly can. One other event that's coming up a little bit further down the road is the Township Officials of Illinois Annual Educational Conference. Now that has not taken place in person for at least
It's at least the last 2.
2 years. So it hasn't been held for a couple of years. And I understand that the board did not attend during the past 4 years either, during the prior board's tenure. Would that be correct?
Some did go, but
Okay.
yeah, we didn't have attendance like we had in the past. Correct.
Okay, all right. So if you look at the registration form, you'll notice that if we want to get the early bird registration, we have to register by August 1st. So that means by the next meeting, you should make decisions about this. And I have in your packet here, or rather at your place, a list of what it costs for a person to go. So, I want to provide that for you so you can decide, should anyone go? If so, how many people should go? Which people should go? Should they bear some of the cost themselves, and so forth and so on. So this is provided for your information now. You can look at it, and then we need to decide by the next meeting to make sure that we are going to go, we get the early bird cutoff rate. Okay?
Is there a list somewhere of what will be at the
No, I looked online, and so far, I can't find any detail of what the seminar is going to include. So maybe that will show up soon.
Usually like an opening ceremony where you'll get like a guest speaker. Then from there, there's a lot of different breakout sessions to where different classes you can attend. I know you're
I'm presenting.
yeah, there's reason to go right there. He'll be presenting.
Yeah.
Which one are you presenting?
I think I'm doing a FOIA and open meetings.
But there's a lot of good different seminars. And you can certainly find something that will interest you. And then usually, like, there'll be all of the clerks will have a meeting, all of the trustees will have a meeting. I've always found it very useful, and you do get a lot of information from it.
There's a dinner.
There's a dinner.
You should get the seminars, I think, the next perspective.
I can't hear you. Wait.
The next perspective.
Yeah.
They should be a list of all the scheduled seminars.
Okay.
And the instructors and information about the seminars.
Okay.
What they do.
All right. Okay, well, we'll be looking for that.
Yes.
We should talk about it.
Yeah.
All right, and I have just 2 more things. Just this afternoon, Rachel and I went over to talk to District 63 personnel. They are very interested in having a therapist come over to Apollo School to provide therapy to some of their students. So this is something that we'll be looking at, and we may come back to you next month about this. If we're going to, District 63 said they'd be willing to provide some of the cost for an additional therapist, maybe part-time therapist, we don't know. We're not really sure what this is going to look like, but I just want to let you know this is something on the horizon. And then finally, new law was enacted June 10th, 1922, titled the Decennial Committee on Local Government Efficiency Act. And to be efficient, we have to create new committees, and we don't get paid to do this.
And then tell them if we're worthwhile or not.
To tell them to justify our existence, apparently. List the duties of the committee. You have to meet at least 3 times. You have to prepare a report. You have to give a report to the county board, and so forth and so on. I left a copy of this new statute at your place, so you have it. But one thing, it does require at least 2 residents of the governmental unit. There must be at least 2 residents of the governmental unit on this board. So if anyone wants to suggest anyone to be appointed, please let me know. Asif mentioned at a prior meeting for another committee that he had hoped he could appoint or suggest someone. So, pass that out to him if you see him. And think of anyone who might like to be on this committee. Okay, all right. I think that is all that I have. Does anyone have anything they would like to bring up or announce?
I just wanted to thank everybody for rearranging their schedule so that we could meet today instead of yesterday, because I worked as an election judge and over 16 and a half hours. It was very long, but I did get to meet a lot of Maine Township residents that came out to vote, so I'm very glad that a lot of voters came out. But I just wanted to thank everyone for rearranging their schedules. So
How was the turnout where you were?
It was good. It was actually, I was in a location with 6 precincts, and because there's very low turnout for polling judges, so if anyone ever wants to get involved, there's desperate need. I was actually the only person in the precinct. So it was a very long day. But a lot of people came out. We registered a lot of new voters. There were people that, older people that had never voted before came out to vote. But it was good. It was steady. It was, hundreds, several hundred people came through there. So yeah, it was good.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah,
Denise.
thank you.
I went to vote, and there was only one judge in my precinct too.
Yeah.
And I'm really starting to get worried, if we're going to be able to find enough people to do this in the future.
Well, and it was very frustrating for people because they had to, because of that, I was in the same precinct that I had judged before. And last time there were 5 of us in that location, but now I'm the only one. And so that's why they had us all in one building, so we could kind of jump around and help each other. So people's polling locations were moved, and that was very upsetting. I had to deal with a lot of people yelling and, were very frustrated. I was like, I did not change, don't blame me. But yeah, so people don't like the change, so hopefully.
The county clerk is working on a program to hopefully try and recruit some younger, community college students. They would get credit for attending or serving as a
Yeah,
judge.
we actually had a whole table of high school students who were there. They weren't even old enough to vote, but they were old enough to be an election judge. So, and they were great. They actually were very into it and very excited, so it was good.
They're not bitter and jaded yet.
No, they don't know what they're in for.
Okay, any other announcements?
I said 2 quick comments. On Election Day, I noticed that my polling place was also changed without warning. So if any of the Niles people, I know that Brennan Heights was one of them. So the citizens of the township, especially the elderly people, have been going to the same polling place, and then all of a sudden, and I think the election in November will probably be a lot more interesting, so you might want to somehow get that word.
Well, you do get a card in the mail, and a lot of people even have the cards in their hands, and we're like, no one told me I was supposed to come here. And I'm like, it's on the card. But
I got no.
people think it's junk mail, and they just sort of,
I received no card, and the alternative address is in Park Ridge. So why would a Niles polling place go to some street on Park Ridge?
You might have been in my precinct.
How's an elderly person supposed to know how to find a side street in Park Ridge? The last name. So they send the polling place to Park Ridge.
You sound exactly like the people I thought.
And my second comment, as much as all this stuff is interesting, the Chicago White Sox, Kansas City Royals Mainstreamers trip on August 3rd is, in my opinion, the most interesting item on this calendar. So thank you for Marie putting it out there. It's like August 3rd, the day trip to White Sox games. If anybody's ever been to a weekday game during the daytime, it's a lot of fun. It's a Wednesday, so they leave town usually on these day games, and they're a lot of fun. And sometimes they have giveaways too, so if you have nothing else to do for the entire day of August 3rd,
Okay.
you can go to the trip, the White Sox trip.
All right, do we have any other announcements from our elected officials?
I got just a couple.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
I just want to say I was able to go out with trustee Horvat to Lake Park Memorial Day event.
That was there, I'm sorry.
It was really nice. And then also number two, I just want to thank MWRD Commissioner Spiropoulos. She helped clarify a few things for that IGA to get signed, and we were able to get a couple of things added on the last minute. So I just want to publicly thank her for her assistance and support, and I'm just happy that we were able to move forward on this project because I think the residents will benefit greatly from this. I think it's like $17 million that they're putting into this project, so I'm happy that this is moving forward, so thank you.
Yeah, I'm happy too. We've been all working on it a long time, and I'm glad that it looks like we're actually moving forward. It's going to get done, hopefully soon. And we'll see how, I'm hoping we'll be getting reports on this periodically. Will we have from them, do you think?
I would hope so. I think they mentioned 2023 breaking ground on this, and hopefully within the next 2 years they actually start the project.
Okay, all right. Susan, can you just inform board members here how delayed the tax bills are likely to be? And I think this is relevant in terms of our finances going forward.
Okay, so we have not gotten our final numbers from the board of review yet, and we are going to be waiting for that, and also the other townships when that all comes together, and we're looking at maybe November, December.
The bill's going out. So if the bills don't go out till December, we won't be receiving the money until January.
Right, but I think they're going to do December 1st, but don't hold me to it. You know, we don't really get notification. I know the treasurer's working, hard and pushing on the assessor, to get done, and they're, the assessor and actually the board of review are kind of having a little bit of a squabble, tossing words back and forth at each other and blaming the other ones. So, yeah, I think it's going to be kind of interesting, and it was a very close race with Fritz Peggy. So she was right on his tail, and I think that there were a lot of people that realized that maybe he's not doing as good of a job as his touting. And I guess the proof will come out, and I think that after the election, after November, we won't even be open for our triennial reassessment for 2022, and the election won't be already done. And I would very much say that our assessed values will go up 30 to 40%.
That our what?
Our assessed values will be going up a considerable amount.
That's something.
So, if everybody gets assessed fairly, and if everybody gets that, well, okay, then it's all equal, and everybody, pays the same. But if people are not getting assessed accurately, and then someone might be paying less, or someone's paying more. And that's what the assessor's office is all about in the township, to help these people to get fair market value on their house and pay taxes that are assessed to them fairly. And that's what we do. And also we go back and make sure that a lot of our seniors have the senior, freeze, senior exemption. And we were finding out, we have pages where there was a mistake with the seniors that did have a senior freeze, and they were changing the year that they froze their assessed value. So they put a new year moving forward, and actually these people should have had it like 15 years ago, and they think that change, where the assessed value then certainly changes and it affects what they're paying for their taxes. So there's little mistakes and little problems right now the assessor's office is experiencing, and a lot of people are a little bit disgruntled, and I know the assessors of Cook County, township assessors are a little bit, taken back about how he's proceeding. So we're just hoping going forward, when we get some results from them, and the Board of Review and the assessor's office will get together and get get everything done for us. Because don't forget, even though we get that bill December 1st, we still have March 1st to pay the first bill.
That's gonna be the problem, you get to look too much.
Yeah, we have that, and that's an automatic 55%, of your prior bill. So that might be very disheartening for a lot of people to see that coming in the mail for them too. So it's a double punch to the stomach.
Right around the holidays too.
Yes, exactly. And we were talking within our office that that's where we're feeling that we might even be open for our triennial with the assessor's office during the holidays.
So it's the third.
And we should have been done by now. Okay.
So are there any important deadlines yet right now, or it's too premature for that? For people to know whether they'll appeal or not? It's too early to tell deadlines to appeal.
Yes, we're all done appealing. Once, we're open, our next appeal time will be with the assessor's office, and that will be our triennial assessment. People will receive a letter in the mail with their new assessed value on the property. So everybody, that's how you can tell that moving forward within that next week, then that's when we'll be open for appeals, and then we're open for a month.
So now we're all set deadline.
We're gonna bring, we'll put something out on the web and online that we're taking phone calls and taking appointments. We've been doing it now since the pandemic, and we feel that that is working out well, because otherwise people come in here and sit in the boardroom and it's packed. And they're waiting hours, and they're very disgruntled and a little bit irate, but we can only pace ourselves as we can. During that time, make people take their breaks, take their lunches, work longer hours. So that coming up, it will be very busy in here. So don't plan any Christmas party.
Okay, any other announcements from anyone? All right, well then I think we need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Sorry, clerk spacing out. Supervisor Dunn.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Horvath.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Thank you.